Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ashraf Malouh. I would like to introduce to you today the Community Endowment Program. This program has been under development for the last 3 years. It has been reviewed by several community members so we can achieve the goal towards more efficient funding and transparency reporting. This program is ready to implement for each community members within a region, and it is abbreviated as CEP. So in order to understand the need for this CEP, which is Community Endowment Program, it is better to understand what are the current funding issues within every community across this country, USA. As you all aware of, there are several issues with the current funding cycles or frameworks that a lot of organizations have been using for the last 40 years, 40. Like for example, I'm listing here top 10, but there are even other issues. An organization conducts usually their own fundraising from a limited number of members. That will create a burden on some of the individuals, even though Jazakumullah khair for donating money, but it is high risk because of only few people are committed towards an organization for their fundraising. So the risk of commitment for the pledge cards, which is really money on paper, is very high. Community members are exhausted and stretched too thin for so many fundraising events that happening sometimes in parallel or simultaneously, especially during Ramadan time frame or before the end of the year for tax purposes. And because a lot of these fundraisings, they depend on pledge cards, in reality, the organization may be able to collect 40 to 60% from the actual money. In the best case scenario, maybe not more than 70%. So if there is a fundraising and the organization announced that they have collected $1 million on a pledge cards, the reality is they may only collect $500,000 in cash, and not even on time, because a lot of the donors, what they do is they jot down their names on a pledge cards to pay their commitment on a monthly installments. And sometimes they forgot about it. Sometimes, the management, they have to keep reminding people, which creates a lot of overhead on the organization's management to collect the actual money. Now, because of the lack of the actual money collected from the pledge cards, a lot of these projects are delayed. We talk about many years of delays. I can go through so many examples around the country. For so many organizations, they try to build masajid, and instead of building a masjid in 2-3 years, it took them 11 to 15 years, and hence they're going to be over budget. So instead of budgeting $3 million to build a building, they will exceed their budget by 5 to 9 times, sometimes even more than that. And it may cost them $11 to $15 million to finish this project after 15 years. And that's, of course, because of the lack of funding, or what we call the on-time funding required for these projects. In addition, because each organization, they do their own work, there is a lot of lack of communication and coordination among the community projects. As I said, the community members are exhausted and stretched too thin. There is a lack of auditing, and I'm talking about external auditors, that they should audit the organization's books and release a quarterly financial report to the donors, so that there is a better relationship between the individuals and these organizations. And as a result of the lack of communication and the lack of auditing and reporting, rumors can spread fast, which will hurt the relationship between some organizations as well as individuals. So there is a need to think outside the box. We need to have a better, improved, efficient, and effective funding framework that will help us to provide the proper grants, on-time grants, to organizations that they are in need of the money in an incremental way, yet provide the individuals and the donors with the auditing, tracking, reporting in a complete transparency so that we can help both sides, the donors as well as the organizations, to achieve their ultimate goals of finishing the projects on time and on budget. So before we introduce the solution, let's talk about what are the goals from this program. What are we expecting from it? So here I'm listing top 10 goals. Number one is to complement the organization's funding efforts and needs. Use a single, secure web portal to collect donations, track requests for projects and funding, track invoices, reports, and auditing. The top goal really is to collect an actual money every month instead of pledge cards. Use a single USA bank account to collect those recurring donations within each region. Provide approved projects with on-demand cash flow when needed. Distribute the money fairly among the local organizations within each region. Spread the financial burdens onto a large number of donors and minimize the financial risks, and of course minimize the delays, minimize the over budgets of delayed projects. Provide a better communication, coordination among the local community projects, and of course provide the on-demand financial auditing and transparency reports. So the recommended solution is the Community Endowment Program, CEP, for each region. And the region within the USA is any large city. Within the USA, they can formulate a local CEP for their community members. So the CEP shall be registered as a 501c3 non-profit LLC organization for every region within the USA. It shall be neutral and independent from any local or national organizations. It shall depend mainly on large number of donors within that region with a small amount of monthly donations. It shall be consisted of a selected board of trustees from the local community members, and the board of trustees will formulate inspection committee from a local independent professionals, whether paid or volunteers. Also, they shall hire independent public accounting firm, CPA, for auditing purposes, and build the required secure web portal and mobile app for anytime access, which will provide the donors with secure access for all transparency reports and tracking, as well as a secure access for the enrolled organizations. So let's talk about the CEP vision and mission. The Community Endowment Program vision is to become the endowment program of choice for the Muslim community projects within each region in the United States. The mission is to provide the local community with effective and efficient program or framework to collect small monthly donations, sadaqah jariyah, from large number of individuals or donors in order to provide on-demand funding support for locally registered non-profit Islamic organizations and their approved projects, to provide the best funding and granting practices, auditing, and transparency reporting. Now let's talk about some of the reports that the CEP Secure Web Portal will be able to generate and share with the enrolled donors and the enrolled organizations. These are some examples, like top 10 reports. There are more reports can be generated, of course, once we have the data and in the future. One of the most important, and the donor at any time can download their financial donations for tax purposes. The funding or granting reports for the enrolled organizations. A report about monthly, quarterly, annually, year-to-date donations, how much money CEP collected. You can know that anytime through the secure web portal. Report about each enrolled organization that they are benefiting from the CEP grants and the CEP programs. Reports about the project requests, request status, inspection committee findings, the requester organization, what happened with the budget requested for their projects. Report about the contractors that they are working on the approved projects and their invoices, paid checks. There will be scanned images for both on the secure web portal, as well as the income versus expenses, which is the CEP administrative expenses, and the reports about, as I said, the CEP administrative expenses. Those reports will be either tabular, which is data. Some of them will be like charts. So for example, in the next slide, we have a pie chart which will show us the grant distribution chart for certain projects to organizations. So if we have a school A and school B, Masjid A and Masjid B, they received so much money within a time period or duration, and this will be represented in similar to this chart plus the tabular data. Here's another example of contractor company called ABC Company. The payments they received from CEP by the category, so how much they were paid for Masjid 1 regarding foundation versus electrical, plumbing, and other work, etc. There are more reports that can be shared with the donors, and this will help you as a donor as well as the organizations to stay up to date with what's happening within the community projects. So let's do a simple exercise in calculating how much money would be collecting on a monthly basis and every year if we have 10,000 donors within the community members for each region. And let's assume that the average monthly donations, which is automatically happened, $50 a month, because some donors may pay $30 a month, others will pay maybe $50, $75. So we'll take just the average here among 10,000 people. And $50 a month is like $1.67 a day. So multiply 50 by 10,000 means CEP will collect actual money, $500,000 every month, $500,000, times 12 months. So we talk about $6 million per year. And that's the guaranteed cash flow, because you will have always a cash flow every month without doing even any fundraising events. And with all the reports available to every donor as well as the organizations that they are benefiting from this program. So this means that through this program we can support projects within the local community, within a region, but the goal here is to have the large number of donors with a minimum number of money on a monthly basis that is set for automatic withdrawal from their USA bank or checking account or credit card account. And then you can imagine how much benefits the whole community will gain from this program. So let's reiterate the CEP benefits. I'm listing here 8 key benefits of CEP, which is Community Endowment Program. Number 1 is to help to deliver projects on time and within budget. Number 2, yield to continual cash flow every month. Whenever needed, we have the cash flow, which means we'll minimize number of fundraisings that happen sometimes in parallel or simultaneously or in different places at the same time. We also encourage in this case to establish new projects, new ideas, other than just building a building or a school, because we have available funding due to this CEP framework or program. Also, this program will actually help the organization's management to minimize their overhead in collecting actual money from pledge cards, since there are no pledge cards anymore. It will provide the donors with detailed reports, analytics, charts, anytime in a secure way using the CEP web portal. It will improve the communication and coordination among local community projects and improve the trust level between the community members and their local organizations. So with the talking about the CEP benefits, I'm going to conclude this video for the CEP summary. Next videos will talk about the details of Community Endowment Program, so I encourage everyone to subscribe to Community Endowment YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up if you like this video. For example, we're going to talk about the CEP milestones. Those are 5 key milestones to implement this program successfully. They are listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they are not really in sequential. The first one, of course, is the initial implementation phase. Then the milestones will include how the individual will enroll into the secure web portal, how the local organization will enroll, and then how they will submit their project and budget requests and the tracking and the status of all the tracking, as well as the invoices from the contractor and the payments and the auditing and the reports and the dashboards and the charts that I shared with you in the summary. So I would like to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this important program and this YouTube channel. Again, subscribe to Community Endowment YouTube channel if you are interested to become a member of our mailing list. Here's the email, which is communityendowment@gmail.com. More to come. Thank you so much, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.